Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Guys, this weekend, how we doing today?
Yep. Just as expected. Cowboys in last place.
Yep. You know, I got a question for you.
What?
Was that Aaron Rodgers or Mr. Rodgers yesterday? Because I couldn't tell the difference. I don't know. Did he go ahead and retire in the offseason like he was threatening to? I think he did. I think he just retired. He's now the permanent Jeopardy host because he and his team are in jeopardy.
Cowboys and the Packers have the exact same.
Yep. Well, so
Your team looked good and lost.
my team's about to take off. Actually, my team has a tie. You realize that? They're 0-0-1 because the league awarded them a tie for their moral victory.
No, ain't no moral
they
victory.
did.
One of those quarterbacks actually
Yeah, you
came
didn't know
to
that, did
play.
you?
I did not know
We're
that.
definitely going to talk about Aaron Rodgers today. I promise you that. I cannot wait for it. But we have to start
Thank
with
you.
a showdown in Kansas City. Heading into Sunday's game against Baker Mayfield and the Browns, the Chiefs had never lost a game in September with Patrick Mahomes under center. Kansas City superstar helped his team rally back from a 12-point deficit as he threw 3 touchdowns in the second half to secure a late fourth-quarter lead. And last week, Skip did have the Browns beating the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl this year, while Shannon has Kansas City going back to the Super Bowl for the 3rd straight season. So, Shannon, do you feel even better about your pick after this game?
I feel really good about my pick, Skip. The Chiefs were playing without 2 of their top 3 defenders. Honey Badger, Frank Clark played in that ball game. Chris Jones was a menace. He did what we thought he would do, and he was unbelievable. But, Skip, I don't really know how much better the Browns can play. You have 457 yards of total offense. Baker has basically 7 incompletions, over 300 yards. You run the ball for 6 yards a clip. And the difference in the ball game came down to, can you make plays late in the ball game when you absolutely have to? The game started to slip away, and Baker goes 3 and out, and the interception. Skip, you can't have that. That's the difference. Baker wants to be, I'm not saying he's trying to be Drew Brees, Brady, or Manning, but if he wants to be the best version of himself, those guys made their name. When they needed plays late in the ball games, they found ways, more times than not, to make those plays. And that's the next step. That's the evolution in Baker Mayfield's ball game. Skip, he was unbelievable yesterday. When you look at his numbers, 21 of 28, 321, a touchdown, but that horrible interception to end the ball game, Skip. You got to throw that ball out of bounds. Or worst case scenario, take the sack. You have a timeout. Use your timeout. You still have, 45, 50 seconds left in the ball game. No harm, no foul. But the one thing you can't do is turn the football over. You know this, when you play the Kansas City Chiefs, Skip, a lot of things are going to have to go in your favor. You're going to need to have to steal a possession. Hopefully they turn the football over. You're going to need to get somewhere into the mid-30s. You're going to have to get to 30. And then hope Mahomes plays bad. He plays like this, and they don't turn it over. You're not beating him. He can, Skip, he just can make plays. That play that he threw to Tyreek. We're not talking about guys that's playing today. There might be only 3 or 4 guys in the history of the game that can be rolling, falling out of bounds, and throw the ball 50 yards. You know he threw that ball 50 yards to Tyreek. There have been very few guys that's ever took a snap in the NFL that can throw the ball like he can and can do the things that he does. And so Cleveland, while you can take some positives from this, Baker, at the end of the day, Skip, you had a 12-point lead. You had a 9-point lead in the 4th quarter. You're on the road and the team is building. To be the team that you want to be, you got to win that game, Skip. You got to find a way to seal the deal. And I don't know what the hell the punter was thinking. Skip, he panicked. He still could have punted the ball. Where did you think you were going? It was 4th and 13. You're not going to race them to the first down marker. Skip, even if the ball only goes 20, 30 yards. The one thing you cannot have happen is that, and I think that was the difference in the ball game. One team remained poised, knowing they had been in these situations before, and they stayed the course. The other team all of a sudden started to see the momentum start to slip, and they panic. The punter drops a punt. Baker throws the interception at the end of the ball game. But I feel good. 23 points. They had 4 possessions in the second half. They got touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Field goal. Can you say it with me, Skip? MVP. 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 Pete.
Can you repeat after me? Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., best quarterback in football. MVP. MVP. He's already off to the races. He's going to win it this year.
He got 2 INTs.
Yeah. You told me they were both disqualified. You had no problem with either one of them.
I don't, but they on his resume.
What was that? Hail Mary, am I right?
The Hail Mary skip.
And one hit Fournette right in the hands and popped right over to my man Trevon Diggs, right?
A little high.
Okay, just a little high. All right, now, my turn. What did I see from my Super Bowl pick yesterday? Nothing but great. Loved every bit of it except for 2 mistakes late in the game. I saw a Cleveland Browns team on the verge. I saw a Browns team that needed that as a measuring stick to show them where they fell short. Because to your point, Kansas City made no mistakes, and they ended up making 3, but the first 2 were the most egregious of the mistakes. And you cannot make them at Arrowhead or you're going to lose. And I think that was a great learning lesson for the Cleveland Browns because Baker came out like he meant business. That was the best overall game under fire I have seen him play as a professional. I thought he lived up to being the first pick in the draft. I thought he played or I should say he outplayed that guy in Buffalo yesterday. We're going to talk about him, but Josh Allen had a tough afternoon yesterday, right? At home against the visiting Pittsburgh Steelers. But my point is that, to your point, 21 of 28 for 321 should get it done.
Yes.
When you rush for the kind of yards, they rushed for 153 yards to only 73 for Kansas City. That should get it done. And what did we see in the opening Cleveland drive of the game? They just took it and just stuck it right down Kansas City's throat.
They did.
75 yards, 13 plays, the last 4 by Nick Chubb, and the next, the 2-point conversion by Kareem Hunt. And they just said, we're just going to go for 2, and you can't stop us. We will bulldoze you. And they did, and all of a sudden, it's not 6-0, it's 8-0, right? So I'm saying, okay, here they go. And for most of the game, they were in control.
Right.
But 2 things happened in the second quarter that went completely against everything that I was hoping was about to happen. The first thing that happened was Ronnie Harrison Jr. got tossed from the game.
He lost his mind.
Okay, well, did he lose his mind or did he get the wrong call here? Because here we go, and he's just trying to get free.
Step on the man on purpose.
He's just trying to get loose. He's trying to get loose because he's getting stood up, and he's on the Kansas City sideline. He's just trying to get free. He's not trying to step on anybody. And all of a sudden, little Greg Lewis, the assistant. You remember Greg Lewis playing for the Eagles?
I do.
Because he caught a huge touchdown pass from Donovan McNabb that actually made that Super Bowl fairly close,
24-24.
It did. It put them back in position to win the game. Because he could fly now, little Greg. And he is the running backs coach.
Right.
So he is defending his own, right?
Right.
And he gets a little carried away, and he pushes. Well, that's out of bounds to me. He's literally out of bounds, and then he's double out of bounds because you can't do that. You can't push a player on the field.
You can't, and that's the thing is, Skip, you stay away from stuff like that. But I think when they called it into New York and they saw Ronnie Harrison step on the man, I think that was like...
Okay, so originally they threw only a flag on Greg Lewis.
Correct.
And then they go back and take a second look, and they say, well, wait a second. Well, I would have been fine with offsetting penalties.
Right.
But they tossed the starting safety of the Cleveland Browns in the first quarter. You're gone.
Yep.
Seriously? You're going to eject him for that? And he didn't start it, obviously. I don't know why. This is another one of those golden rules that I don't understand. It's always the second man. Well, why should it be?
Exactly.
Should that be the unwritten rule? I don't know why, but it was. He was the second he only retaliated.
Right.
He didn't strike him with his fist. He just shoved him, and his headset went flying back, and it looked a little more dramatic than it actually was.
Right.
Why can't you just say, okay, let's throw this